Hi, my name is Steven, and today I'd like to talk about the Prince Rupert drop. A Prince Rupert drop is formed when molten glass is dropped into water. This causes rapid cooling of the outer layer, creating immense compressive stress, while the interior expresses high tension forces. This leaves the drop in a state of unstable equilibrium. In the 17th century, Germany's King Prince Rupert brought some of these unusual pieces of glass to Charles II, the King of England, who was fascinated by their strange behavior. While it may not seem like much, this drop I have here has a compressive stress up to 700 megapascals, which is nearly 7,000 times the atmospheric pressure. This surface compressive layer is also only about 10% of the diameter of the head. Even though we've known about these strange drops for almost 400 years, it wasn't until a few years ago that scientists were able to fully understand why they behave this way. In 2017, physicists used a transmission polariscope to measure the optical retardation of the light as it traveled through the glass. They then used this data to calculate the stress distribution throughout. The head of this drop is so strong that it can survive the impact of a hammer, and in some cases, even a bullet. However, the tail is a different story. A slight bend or crack in it will cause a catastrophic chain reaction throughout the structure, causing it to explode into a fine powder. What happens here is the droplet heads have a very high fracture strength. In order to break them, it is necessary to create a crack that enters the interior tension zone. Since cracks on the surface tend to grow parallel to the surface, they cannot enter this tension zone. Instead, the easiest way to break a drop is to disturb the tail, since a disturbance in this location allows cracks to enter the tension zone. This leads to the disturbance of the previously stated unstable equilibrium. This will better be understood after seeing what happens. I have here another Prince Rupert drop, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to clip the tail with these pliers. When I do, it should cause a chain reaction that comes down the tail into the head, exploding into a fine powder. Yup, be careful. As you just saw, when I clipped the tail of the last Prince Rupert drop, it exploded without almost any warning. If I had access to a slow-mo camera, you would have seen it slowly progress from the spot where I cut it, down the tail, into the head. However, I don't have access to that, so I highly recommend looking up videos in slow motion. There's another interesting phenomenon that happened when I cut the tail of this Prince Rupert drop. If I were to have done this in the dark, you would have noticed a flash of light as it exploded. This is because of something called triboluminescence. Triboluminescence is still not fully understood by scientists. However, it is believed that it's caused when mechanically ripped apart matter has the electrons stripped and reunified. It's crazy to think that something as simple as a piece of glass could have so much going on with it. The stresses and tension holding it together and keeping it as strong as it is, the triboluminescence present when you break it. There's so many things that are so cool to learn about it. Thank you for watching my video, and I hope you learned something. I definitely learned some things while making this, and have a great one.